when the leading global manufacturer of an industry asks a small cap company for samples of its products created by a completely new and disruptive process in that industry, and then reports back positive results from the evaluation of those products, you should pay close attention. And that's exactly what happened with HPQ Silicon, who had the leading global manufacturer of Fumed Silica request samples from an earlier batch of Fumed Silica created under a completely new, cleaner, cheaper, and superior process. And now HPQ's phase 2 Fumed Silica tests have achieved even stronger operational goals, getting hopefully closer to commercialization. Here to talk about is Bernard, the CEO. Bernard, welcome back, my friend.
Thanks, George.
All right off the bat, you've sent samples to 2 independent labs, including the global Fume Silica manufacturer that we have to use the acronym GFSM, even though everybody knows who we're talking about. Question for you. Okay, great. I was happy to see it. It was like, all right, cool. But why press release it instead of just waiting for the results, given the fact that the GFSM would probably have the results out in a week, in a matter of days?
George, this is really a time where a image speaks 1,000 words. Okay, and we've shown some images in the press release, and let me just share there even more. Oh yeah, I gotta press the share button. There you go. You see it now, George? Okay.
Yeah, and I love what I'm seeing on the left. I love it. Tell me what we're looking at, and tell me why we should all be happy looking at this.
We are looking at actual material produced by the Fume Silica reactor. Okay, this is the biggest amount. We've never produced that much material. We've never produced. I have to remind people, okay, and I have to remind ourselves that the material, the quantity of material we sent for the, you know what we're talking about, the company we can't name at this specific moment, but everybody knows. Basically, we send them what, 30 grams of material, and that's what they use to validate it. Okay, we're now in the position where we can send 500 grams from 5 different areas of the test, 5 different cycles of the test. Okay, and probably our 5 best one, and we still are left over with big piles of material. Okay, we've never produced this much. It's the reason why I really wanted to issue this press release is really to update people. And I think when we're going to do the next press release, which is going to be related to the quality of the material, I think that information about the fact that the pilot system is really starting to operate as we wished, hope, planned it would, okay, as a small-scale commercial system, is starting to bear fruition. So in a secondary press release, when we were going to talk about the quality of the material, the commercial size of it, that information might have been lost and low key. So I thought it was important for me to share this with shareholders right now, because this is a progress forward. Okay, the problem with Fume Silica is by looking at it like this, you can't really tell how close it is to commercial grade. But you know, we're very confident that we've gotten there, and this is a massive improvement for what we did in test 5, and which was a massive improvement we did in test 4. So I thought that was a really important news to issue to show people that the significant progress that we're doing in this project.
Yeah. Well, given the fact we're in the summer doldrums, part 1, and part 2, we know that every day now investors are asking, where are we at? Where are we at? Where are we at? Where are the next samples going? I think it makes a lot of sense to actually do this. And a picture here is worth 1,000,000 words. I got to admit, that's especially the images on the left. I love seeing that. The turnaround time at the GFSM, the global Fume Silica manufacturer, last time was very fast.
It was very fast. Yeah, we hope it's the same one. It was very fast for the first analysis. It was very slow for the second one, which was the SEM, the electronic microscope part. I'm hoping that everything is going to be done within the very tight deadline. I don't foresee any reason for this. I know for a fact that they have received the material and sign on it. Okay, so as we speak, they've received the material, so their testing is going to be there. Now it's probably more material that they're accustomed from getting from us. So, which is
Does
very good.
more material mean takes longer to evaluate, or can they evaluate each one of those samples simultaneously and therefore, because last time you said there was
I,
what 30 grams, now it's 500. So, well, I don't think it's
I'm
going to take
pretty
16 times longer, but will
no
it
no
take a
no.
little bit longer given the fact that it's 16 times more material?
No, I basically believe that they're capable of handling much more material than that. Remember, that's a laboratory that tests all the fume silica from all the plants everywhere to make sure there's a consistent quality from it. So I don't foresee, that the turnaround to be any longer with regard to this, but there's going to be two types of part. They'll do a chemical analysis of the material. They'll do a surface area analysis of it, and they'll do probably a scanning electronic microscope and give us the feedback. So, we're crossing our finger. We're very optimistic. The key point is, as we make more and more material and it's lighter, 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 we know that we're getting closer, closer because the lighter it is means the surface area is bigger. So, as one of the person once explained to me, the fact that we put, how can I say, the fact that the weight of the material is, yeah, the weight of the material is lighter, and when you put it in these type of container, it shows a lot. So there's a lot of, how can I say this, tea leaf reading that telling us we're in the right direction. But at this moment, until the fat lady sings, it hasn't sung. But there's no reason for us to believe we're not getting damn close to be there.
Well, you've always said it's what's the term you use? I think you've used binary. I think it's
Binary,
binary
yeah, it
used,
is binary.
where you've either done it or you haven't. Is it
Hmm.
safe to assume that the global fume silica manufacturer is um, enthused to receive the samples? They're looking forward to it. They've got them.
Hmm.
Is it
Hmm.
safe to assume that they're, I don't want to use the word excited, but how do you think they're feeling about you delivering 500 grams of sample product for them and in test six, phase two, test number six?
Let me just try to paraphrase something I got today. Uh,
All right.
Okay, so just basically because what I did today is when I knew that they received the FedEx, I sent them and says, okay, this is the material, work fast. And one of the guys replied by said, I really like the picture of seeing that much material coming into it. Because we're now in the position is see a lot of the other companies other people that want the materials also want significant quantities in one shot. So, and we have now that we can control our batch, control our results, okay, and control which one is which that we send, and we're starting to make enough material quantity. It's going to be much easier for us to meet and send all those material and try to get very positive results out of this. Because the end point is there's no differentiation from global manufacturing one, global manufacturing two, global manufacturing three, the material, other than if there is HCI or not in it. Ours is not. So,
So two questions for you. One,
mhm.
why a second lab?
Mhm.
And I'm assuming because you didn't say in the press release, you did not send samples out to other global fume silica manufacturers. We know that you've been in contact. There's some
Mhm.
LOIs, there's some NDAs. No, sorry,
Mhm.
no LOIs. There's some NDAs, there's some discussions. So why
Mhm.
the second lab? First of all,
Mhm.
I think I can pretty much assume what it is, but I'd love to hear it from you. And why not send given that you can produce that much now, why not send some to at least George Com, the second leading global fume silicon manufacturer in the world, or the third or the fourth?
I'll answer the reason why we do is use the second laboratory is so we can have our own basically access to the data. The great advantage of getting the results quickly from the leading global fume silica manufacturer is that we get the result quick. But the images that comes out of it are their proprietary material. So it's theirs to approve. And if we issue press release with them, it's a longer process. Example given, if we had, if we could have shown images of the SCM from test five, okay, a lot of people would quickly understand where we were there. But at one point, we were going to make test six anyway, so there's no logic. So we sort of decided is for the speed and the accuracy of the return, we're gonna use the global fume silica manufacturer, and for us to have deeper material that we can publish because it's going to be our own material then we're going to go for the independent lab. The difference is the first one takes 5 days, a week, maybe even top. The other one may take a month. So it's really plays in between those two things. But then again, I'm pretty sure that if we reach the check mark we think we're going to reach in this test or maybe the next one, they'll want to they'll want to brag also that they validated the material is good. So we already know that the check bar for and the check mark for it really the important fact is that we can make a lot of material is really now that we know that once we've made the right quality, then there's going to be a lot of what's known as product application tests to make sure that our material works with different type of product they're using for. And that requires more powder than just a little bit. So the fact that we're demonstrating the pilot plant is working as we think it is, and remember, the pilot plant is a 20 times scaling up of the lab scale. But the first commercial plant is going to be a 20 times scaling up of this pilot plant. So, everything is moving in the right direction toward commercialization. So we're going to be coming pretty close to having a pilot plant, as we said, that can basically convert it into a small scale production facilities to start making material. So every one of these steps are really moving forward. If you stop and think about this,
Clearly.
okay, yeah, if you stop and think about it, for over the last year, okay, what we've accomplished with this, okay, there's been the delay to get the machine started, but once it started, it's been moving relatively fast. A year ago, everybody was completely excited that we've made it at lab scale, and everybody was gun ho and everything was moving forward. Now we are on the cusp. Okay, we're really on the cusp of making it. But if you take a look over the last 6 tests, there's been no setback. Okay, knock on wood. But there's been no setback. Okay, it's actually positive progression, which is what you expect in what we're doing. So it's like when people are going to be validated, when this is going to be validated, we will have changed the fume silica industry. And what are we? We're probably
Wow.
in the last 100 meters of a 42 kilometers marathon, at least to get us to the
Or
first one.
and you might be there, right? You don't know. You might actually be there.
At this
You're
specific
waiting for
at
the
this
photo
specific
finish
moment,
now.
we cannot say that we're there until we have the validation from a third
Yeah.
party. And it's impossible for us by looking at the material to say if it's a 90 surface area, 150, 120, 200. You can't do that with the eyes. Okay. So,
So, hypothetical here.
mhm,
Let's cross fingers, knock wood, all that. Let's assume these samples are in fact the ones where you've achieved commercial grade because you've talked about
mhm,
that. So the binary goes off now on. Okay.
mhm.
Let's hypothecate a little bit. What happens? How fast do negotiations start to accelerate? How fast do samples go out to other global fume silica manufacturers? Give us a little. I know you don't have, or you may have the whole game plan. I don't know, but give us a little bit of insight into what the game plan looks like. Because at that point, then it becomes business negotiations. What does that look like?
It's gonna become like trying to get the project moving to the next step, but it's gonna be moving much faster because we've made the material. Okay. Remember, in any industry that has a legacy process, okay, which billions of dollars have been invested by the legacy manufacturer. All right. A new technology that comes and completely change that paradigm shift, completely change the 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 order of who has the power in this industry to make fume silica. Okay. Um, A is going to meet with an intense skepticism, which is what we're going through right now. But once we make it, then it's going to be the question, how do you commercialize it? How do you make it forward? It might be some question from one company saying, well, wait a minute, we got to make sure we get a control because we can't afford to lose our process. Because for some of them, okay, for some information regarding um, the um, the manufacturing of the process, okay, some of them are fully vertically integrated. Okay. So if we remove that part of the vertical integration, it plays into all the other businesses they do, while some others buy their feedstock to make the material. So it really depends where it is. One of them might be saying, "Oh, I can't afford to lose this market." So this is where it really is going to become interesting, the negotiation, because we will be the one, okay, HPQ Silica Pulveris will be the one that's much more in a comfortable position to discuss.
And let's face it, the whole world has seen what um, Netflix did to Blockbuster, what Uber did to taxis, what AI right now is doing to everything.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna say if this was 10, 15 years ago, you might have had a lot more resistance.
Hmm.
But now you've got, and this again, my personal opinion, but now you've got board members, officers, executives, so on and so forth that say, hey, new stuff is coming all the time in different industries, and we don't want to be the next Blockbuster. We don't want to be the next, taxi
Hmm.
cab industry that gets left behind by the new tech. Um,
Hmm.
um, do you start or have you started? I'm going to assume. Okay, I'm not going to assume. Other manufacturers,
Hmm.
have they started increasing their level of communication with you, the level of attention, because they must be seeing. Now, I know today's press release would have been too early. I don't assume anyone's called you today, but what's going on with the rest of the industry, and can you see, based on that, a multi-pronged partnership potentially, or do you just go with whoever you came to the dance with and go for the whole thing with one partner?
I'm going to be very careful about how I discuss my business strategy on open communication network. So I'm going to try to keep my cards closer to my chest. So basically, what I will say is I will try, as a large shareholder of the company, I will try to make sure that we do the best deal for the corporation and to make sure that we can move forward in other things. Other than that, I don't want to get too much into the nitty gritty of what we're going to do or do not. I don't think this is an appropriate forum to discuss this. I'd love to give the information to my shareholders, but sometimes even my shareholders ask me for information which I can't really divulge or can't. Some of them I can't divulge by regulatory reasons. Some others I can't really divulge for commercial reason.
Yeah, and I
So
respect that. Listen, I have to ask,
no,
but
no,
I
I know.
totally respect the fact that you want to hold your cards close to the chest. Safe to
Hmm.
assume, Bernard, that you do have a game plan in mind of what you want to achieve, whether it's joint venture or to sell the technology or whatever other alternatives are out there to enter into
Hmm.
offtake agreements and lock
Hmm.
down financial commitments, whatever that may be, of all the different options you have. Safe to assume that you've kind of mapped out what you want and you know what you want. You're not going to tell the world, but you know what you want out of this specifically.
We have some very good idea what we want, but you have to remember HPQ Silica Pulveris is not HPQ. It is a subsidiary. It's a standalone company where there will be two shareholders very, very soon. So it will be part of a negotiation of those issues of the interest of both groups, how to move forward. But the interest is there from so many people that we're not really worried about it. But at this moment, uh, I'll just I'll just say that we have different level of discussion with different type of strategy or scenarios ongoing. Some of them are geographically located, some of them are material specific, some of them are internal. As we said in our investor deck, just the Canadian market can be significant, no-brainer for us to develop either as a standalone or as a partnership. Remember, the dynamic of the industry is about to change once we do make commercial material. The um, the power center for fume silica manufacturing is going to go from the big chemical companies that have the capacity to use a traditional process to make fume silica to us and the quartz company that can have the capacity to go directly from quartz to fume silica in one step. So that's really going to be a big change. And I understand it's such a big change that people, you know, some of those big companies don't really care about paying three to 5 to 10 times the price that it is right now to make sure that the risk is lower. So that's the way I sort of see it.
Last question, because obviously we're not going to be able to get more, and we don't want to put the cart before the horse because we do want to get
Yeah.
the results back from the GFSM. How are
Yeah.
you feeling right now? And I know part of your philosophy is it's not done until it's done, but how are you feeling at this point in terms of your level of confidence and even the Power Genesis team, their level of confidence? How are you guys feeling in terms of your progress and this picture that we're looking at right in front of us?
I would dare to say we all feel very comfortable because that was expected. Okay. And that's moving forward because you have to expect that as you test more and more in the machine, we can use it more efficiently. Like one of the big thing of our testing process was it took us many, many days to reach operating temperature, make the material do the test. Okay. Now we've cut that in half. We make, 5 times more materials. We mean we're getting a better yield. It means all the operational parts are coming into it. So that's very comforting for us as we know that, this process will end up making the fume silica because this is a replication at pilot scale what we did at lab scale. So yes, we feel incredibly comfortable, excited, but we're also like sitting on pins and needles until we get the results. Not because we're skeptical, but we'll need to do one more or two tweaking, or have we reached a level? What's the level we've reached? Okay, what's the level of commercial material we've made? Okay, is it great commercial material, or is it Nirvana medical and chemical grade? Yeah, medical and pharmaceutical grade. We don't know yet. I don't assume it's going to be medical and pharmaceutical grade yet, but who knows?
Well, it's August 20th today, so before Labor Day, I'm going to say I know it sounds like before Labor Day, we're going to have we're going to have a much better indication of where we're at. So I'll
Mhm.
leave the question for that there.
Okay.
Awesome. You can even take down the picture if you want, because I want to move on to another topic, which is a small part of this press release, but
Mhm.
elaborate a little bit, please, on the
Mhm.
$150,000 related party loan to exercise warrants of QIMC. Give
Okay.
everyone a little bit of detail there. Elaborate what's going on there.
When HPQ transition, interesting term to use, but transition from being a mining company to a technology company, one of the things we had to do was to get rid uh, of our uh, of our mining assets or our exploration assets. And we did a deal with QIMC at the time. We got 3 million shares and 1.5 million warrants at 15 cents, good for 3 years. All right. The 3 million shares were very helpful last year to get us do a lot of work without needing to basically dilute ourselves.
Finance.
I think we made over 1 million, if not more than that, with the sale of those 3 million shares, and that went a long way with non-dilutive type of financing. Now, not to be like trying to market time or those type of issues. We have a finite time to exercise those warrants. We could do a cashless warrants exercise, but then we would cap our profit very, very low. And I'm actually, optimistic about the potential of the white hydrogen that they're developing. Because I think in my mind, white hydrogen has a much higher probability of becoming a commercial success than green hydrogen based on electrolysis type of technology. Okay. Our hydrogen technology is for a very specific niche that is very big, is going to be moving forward, but I think that white hydrogen is good. So looking at all those situations, I try to figure a way to say, how can we give ourselves more time to generate a bigger return for HPQ investors. And I think the best solution was to be able to find this loan. This is basically a loan from somebody close to the company. There's no interest, no thing. It can be converted back in shares or paid back in cash with regard to when it is. So it gives us more flexibility. Second of all, I've played the market. Um, it is known by within the people that analyze QIMC that HPQ has $1.5 million warrants at 30 cents. So it could be to their advantage, traders wise, okay, to try to keep the stock price a bit lower so that they can try to, get a deal from us because, we have to do a cashless exercise. So I think it gives them more flexibility to try to go get the maximum benefit as we did last year. So that's really what it is. It's just like
How many share it's what's the strike price and the amount of shares?
it's 15 cents and we have 1.5. So with this loan, we'll be able to keep a block of 1 million shares for at least 90 days.
And what's it trading at right now? I should have
Oh,
checked,
it's
but I
trade
just
it's trading around 20 cents. It went 21, 21, 23 cents. But as you say, lately, it's like because
it's
it's like
August.
it's August. So it's actually the worst time for it for it to have to do this, for us to be able to get, find a way to be able to get more time. I think it's an intelligent investment on the company's part. Really no risk type of investment.
All right, yeah, and look, it could provide a little bit of cash flow. It all helps.
I wouldn't mind repeating what we did last year.
Bernard, shorter interview than normal, but that's because this was a shorter update. But quality over quantity, because what we're talking about may be up until now the most important milestone or thing that's happened in the company's history, and we'll have confirmation in a few days. But thanks for joining us, my friend. And I think it's a great decision to kind of bring all the shareholders along with you to let them know that the samples were delivered, they've been received. Let everyone see the samples. I think that's great. Fingers crossed. We'll be hearing from you back on this before the end of the month, before Labor Day. And I have no idea if we'll be hearing more from you on the other pillars of the company. But for today, for this, congratulations, my friend, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
To everyone at home, thanks for joining us. Hope you enjoyed this. As always, keep the engagement going on Agoracom. If you want to hear from Bernard personally, ask your questions there, get your answers there. Everybody sees them. Everybody sees the questions. Everyone sees the answers. Ultimate transparency, and it's civilized. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. See you next time.
Hey, small cap fam. I hope you loved this interview because more than a dozen people were involved in its production for the sole purpose of making you happy. If so, can you take a moment to support both our awesome guest company and Agoracom? Your engagement means the world to us. First, if you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up by tapping that like button. It's a small gesture that helps this interview reach even more potential investors to discover today's guest. Second, we would love to hear your feedback on this interview, so please leave a comment below. Be sure to keep it clean, but feel free to poke fun at George. If you loved what you heard on today's video and want to dig into our guest company right away, take a look at the links in the description below. And while you're at it, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell to never miss another great Agoracom small cap video. Thank you so much. We couldn't do any of this without you. Make sure to come back soon.